All right, this is Adam Torres, and I am so excited to be a guest host again on the Rich Feet podcast. The main host, the woman herself, Dr. Tanisha Richmond. Dr. Richmond, hey, it's awesome to be connecting with you again. I'm glad we could catch up like this.
Oh, it's good to always talk to you. You're so perky. I want to be like you someday.
I want to be like me too when I get this coffee in me. That's the secret.
Maybe I need some more coffee, but I've been up since like 5. My chihuahua has a wake-up call. So he wakes me up by looking me in the face every morning to take him out.
Oh, that's how they do it. Well, at least so you're woken up with kisses. I get it.
Yeah, I'm trained. My chihuahua has me trained now.
Oh, man. So we have a lot to cover today. We're going to talk about your new nerve pain treatment. It's called ARP Neurotherapy. I mean, you shot a commercial. You got a new website. I mean, you've been a busy woman, like always.
Yeah, this whole pandemic has truly stressed me out. And the more stress financially stressed me out. And I just had to constantly look at ways of increasing my chances of survival, being in private practice, owning my own business. And I had to keep, you just have to keep trying to rebuild yourself and offer different things. And I always follow, I'm a big Amazon girl. I follow them. And I follow, you have to keep changing and following the trends and giving people what they need, and what they want, not what I think they need, but what they want.
Yeah, it's a big deal as a business owner to think that way, and I think you have a pretty unique perspective on that because I mean let's just dive right into maybe our first point here. I want to get into this new website. So tell us about the new website and how that came about.
Oh, so the Rich Feet Boutique, richfeetboutique.com. Well, okay, so what had happened was
I love what had happened was story. That gives right to my heart. I mean, I like animals too. I like the Chihuahua, but I mean, what had happened was that gets my heart.
Well, so the pandemic hit, and then they were like, you need to start wearing masks. So then I was like, well, let me make custom masks to give to my patients, like for T-shirt kind of marketing. Then George Floyd was murdered, and then several other Black people were murdered by cops. And since I don't have time to go out and protest or take the legal risk of getting arrested or shot with a rubber bullet, I protested with my face mask. So I went out, I bought me a Cricut maker, heat press. I started ordering masks that were already made, started watching all the Cricut videos, and started making masks. Well, then patients were like, I want that mask. I'll pay you for that. And then it just kind of took a life of its own, because then people were like, well, can you make a mask for my high school team? Can you make a mask because I'm a nurse? Can you make a mask because I'm a teacher? Can you make me a mask? Can you make this? Then, so we did masks. And then it's cold. We're in Ohio. So I said, well, let me jump in the hoodies and sweatshirts. So now we're doing hoodies and sweatshirts. I actually got I think I got to make 20 hoodies for one of my church members. Well, he's not my church member, for his church. I already made a mask for the church. Now I got to make them matching hoodies. So, and then I order everything from a company, Alibaba, and they make the custom rhinestone iron-ons, and they make some beautiful iron-ons, and I'm catering to the African-American community, and they're all positive things, and that's another thing that I'm finding, especially with being African-American. It's the first time we have so much pride now in being Black, and it's taken a long time for us to reach that time and reach that. And I want to give something that they can wear and show their pride in everything, in all parts of our lives. And that's not something we see, and that's not something that's really sold. There's some things I'm seeing popping up on Instagram and Facebook, but it's not a huge thing where you can purchase something that shows the pride, your pride of who you are. And I'm trying to cater to that because it's something that hasn't really been tapped into.
And Dr. Richmond, there also has to be some bit of pride on your end too, in terms of just, you know, seeing somebody make these beautiful masks and this other clothing that you make. Like, you took me back to when I think that was one of my first businesses when I was younger. You took me way back as when I was in school. I remember this might have been like before even high school. I used to airbrush. That was like 80s when that was in style, and I used to airbrush shirts, and I'd see people walking around with my clothes on, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So you must also have a certain amount of pride in just, you know, watching people wear the things you make. That's amazing.
Yeah, I went to McDonald's and the girl at the drive-through had on my mask. It was awesome. It was crazy, and I was going nuts. And then my boyfriend's like, "Oh, yeah, she is in your mask," you know. I'm like, "Yeah, my mask." And then she told me the whole story, where she got it, where you could go get it, and I was like, "Yeah, I made that."
I love it. I knew you had a story like that for me. I knew you had one.
But I mean, I'm in an urban area. I'm in the hood, and for people to walk into my office and to see all that, the display, and then to see the T-shirts, like, I mean, I have like football teams, and then I have Black Lives Matter, and now I'm doing say their names. That's the next line, where it'll be hashtag say their names on the front, and then on the back is the list of all the people who've been killed. I mean, you can't get that at Macy's or, you know, JCPenney or Walmart. You can't get something that addresses what we're going through as a race. So, and I want to cater to what we want and what we need, and then depending on the election, I'm about to have some hoodie, sweatshirts, everything, just like I did when Obama won. I had outfits for days. I'm going to do the same thing if he, you know, Biden, and especially Kamala wins. Oh, my goodness. It's going to go crazy. I'm going to have to hire someone just to manage all that.
So, and again, for everybody listening and output, and we'll make sure that we have the website and the show notes for you, but it's richfeetboutique.com, and you can see all the merchandise there. I mean, looks great. I want to spend some time on this new nerve pain treatment that you're offering at your clinic. So ARP Neurotherapy, excuse me. Tell us a little bit more about what that is, Dr. Richmond, and kind of some of the people it's appropriate for.
So this is a treatment for neuropathy, any kind of painful condition in the foot, like plantar fasciitis, Morton's neuroma, ankle sprains, tendonitis, stress fractures, Achilles tendonitis or injuries. And basically, it stimulates the tissue, stimulates the nerve, and kind of takes it from a chronic state to an acute state. And it helps the body to heal itself. And it's non-invasive. Basically, you just if people are familiar with like a TENS unit, you put the TENS unit pads on their thighs and their feet, and they put their feet in water, and they're not electrocuted or anything because we've all been trained. I've actually had it done to myself. And it kind of just regroups the nerves. It kind of helps the nerves and the tissue to help heal itself. And actually, I was introduced through LinkedIn, and the rep came, and she tried it out on me, tried it out on patients, and they love it. And, you know, especially living in Ohio, because my county, Montgomery County, a couple of years ago was number one for overdoses, for opioids, and then overdosing of fentanyl. So, you know, so all opioids are in the same class, which are your hydrocodone, your Percocets, your Vicodins. They're in the same class as cocaine, fentanyl, crack, same class of drugs. But what happened is when, like, I don't know, maybe 5-7 years ago, the government walked in and told all docs, stop giving out narcotics to your patients. So the patients went to the streets and started buying heroin. But then the drug dealers got real cheap, and they started cutting heroin with fentanyl. And then they started just killing everybody, because fentanyl is like 20 times stronger than heroin. So then we had a massive drug problem. Then we had a massive overdose problem and massive groups of people dying. And when this was introduced to me, I saw it as an option, especially for the chronic pain patients where they don't want to take pills or they cannot get drugs. And then a lot of the pain docs, since they cannot prescribe narcotics, mostly they're concentrating more on spinal injections to treat pain. And a lot of patients just don't want to get an injection in their back. I don't want an injection in my back. So I give this option as an alternative to either pills or injections.
Wow, that's amazing, and that's the first thing I thought about when you told me about how it works. Is that it can be an alternative to the opioids and the other like strong medications. So let's go a little bit more. I want to like just kind of unfold what a visit looks like for this, because I know you went over it, but it was a little fast, and I know there's some people listening that they may be interested, but they're still a little like, oh, it's a what? It's a therapy. They put what? Like, tell us a little bit more of like what an average visit looks like.
Well, so first of all, you have to be seen by me, and then there are certain risk factors or pre-existing, like you can't have had a recent stroke, recent blood clot, you can't have a pacemaker, and I think you can't be pregnant to get the treatment. But first, you're seen by me. I evaluate you. I talk to you about options, because most patients that really do well with this have neuropathy, which is nerve damage from either like diabetes or like they may have bulging disc in their lower back or pinched nerves in their back, arthritis, and they're having a lot of nerve pain in their feet and legs. And then I'll actually have posters in the room. I have flyers in the room, and I talk to them about this is another option, instead of drugs or injections in your back. And then they get scheduled for it. So it usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes. So they're taken into another treatment room and set up. If you do come for the treatment, we always suggest to either bring a pair of shorts or wear some loose pants, because you're going to have to pull your pants up above your thighs to do the pads. And they sit in the room, and the pads are put on their thighs, pads are put on their feet, and they're put in this water bath. And then the machine, the technician that does the treatment slowly takes the machine up to tolerance. And it just takes you through stages, the machine working on your nervous system, your lower extremity nervous system. I guess I would describe it kind of like what you feel if you ever done a TENS unit, and then it's kind of like what you feel with like if you hit your elbow sometimes, you get that kind of tingling sensation. But it's not a painful sensation. I would say it's just different. But the response that I've gotten from patients has been overwhelming. They're loving it. They're saying they're not taking as many pain meds. They're sleeping better, feeling better, walking better. I had a guy physically run out of the office, running down the hallway. I had a patient who had a stroke. She said this first time she felt her feet, her foot.
Wow.
Had a stroke. And it also did help her walk better, because stroke patients get what's called drop foot, where they drag the foot. And so the response has been really great and unbelievable. And I'm just thankful that I could offer something to my patient that doesn't have any drug interactions or major side effects, or requires them to be shot with a needle in their back. So, I have a bad back myself. I have a bulging disc, and I'm diabetic, so I tingle every now and then. And I want something for myself that does not require me to get shot in the back or take a pill that could give me side effects. So, I'm really excited about it, and the patients are loving it. They're very happy, and the drugs that we offer for neuropathy, they all have side effects, and it's more about does the side effect outweigh the benefit, or does the benefit outweigh the side effect? And patients just have to make that decision. Do I want to do this, or do I want to get an injection in my back to stop my pain?
How many treatments and I know this is going to vary from patient to patient, and obviously they need to see you, and there's going to be different symptoms, but is this like they go once, or is this like a couple of times, or does it vary?
The way they trained us, it can be up to 20 treatments. And then in some cases, like for people with like severe pain, they can even rent the machine and do the treatments at their house.
Wow. So it's safe. If you could do it yourself, obviously there's some level of training they would need, but so then that just sounds to me like it's very safe.
Yeah. But I mean, it interacts personally with you, so you can make the decision on how far you can tolerate or how high you can turn the machine up, to treat your pain. It's like a TENS unit. I would say it was not. I mean, in layman's term, it's like a TENS unit. It's a more complicated machine than that. But if someone's had a TENS unit, then it kind of helps them understand how the device works.
And so I know we're talking about it today, and I know you've been telling your patients, and cause it's just a great benefit. It's something, if somebody doesn't have to take a pill and they could do something like this, all the better. Or get an injection. I had injections in my back in the past, and I'm like, when I was in an accident years ago, and that wasn't fun. If I could do something that would allow me to do that, otherwise to relieve that pain, that would have been amazing. But I didn't even know something like this existed. So the fact that you're even offering this and not just going right to the pill or pills or some type of medication or going right to injections. It just shows a lot about your practice and, how you interact with your patients and what you're trying to get accomplished.
Yeah. Being a patient myself, me being a diabetic, having a bulging disc in my back for the last probably 5 years, and then was told by one of my best friends, she's actually a neurologist. She's African American. And when I first was diagnosed, she told me, you cannot have surgery. You cannot have shots. You can't have anything. Figure it out. and so I started off with like massage, reflexology, and now I do Pilates every week, one Pilates section a week, and I see a chiropractor and pain free. But if she had told me, because she basically told me I'm too young. I'm 46. I was probably 40 then. And she's like, you're too young because if you do all this, you won't have options later to treat your pain. And I'm thankful that she did it and that I was able to listen to her. But if my pain was to get worse, I get my medical assistant to hook me up. So I get, because, I know all the side effects of the medications because I prescribe it and, I talk to patients about it. But, especially with the opioid epidemic, that's, getting a narcotic, which really does not treat nerve pain, is not an option anymore.
So I know you shot a commercial for this too, so I can't even keep up with you. I'm looking at our list of some of our potential talking points, and I'm like, man, what else do you even busy? Tell us about the commercial you shot. I know it's running on the local TV out there in Dayton.
Yeah, so I shot a commercial. It's running on local 22 and 45, 30 seconds. It's probably like my 6th or 7th commercial I've shot over the years. I've shot quite a few. And it's interesting doing a commercial shoot, but it's kind of, I've done so many, it's not a big deal for me anymore.
I'm sorry, you got so many shows. I got it. I'm just saying, I think it's still a big deal to talk to you, so thank you, okay? So well, I've been on TV so long,
Yeah, I've had quite a few, but I see the benefits of the commercials. And when they run, the phones ring 24/7, and then the patients come in. My patients, they're bragging, they're telling their friends, my doc's on TV. She has her own commercials, her own radio show, blah, blah, blah. But then it's just another part of my marketing strategy, because when I first open, people were like, you're everywhere. You're at the Jazz Fest. You're doing health fairs. You're doing this. You're doing that. I said, because I want all feet. If you have feet, you need to be my patient. If you don't have feet, you need to tell someone that you know with feet to be my patient. So therefore, I need to be everywhere because I want 0 to 100. I do infants up to 100. Well, if you're alive, I want to take care of your feet. And
oh, man.
So that's why I'm everywhere. There's nowhere I should not be because you have feet. and most humans do not have perfect feet. There's something going on with their feet. If their feet are good, they know someone with bad feet. Especially most, I mean, I don't know what the percentages are for America, for diabetics in America, but it's probably about 25% of the population or higher in America right now is a diabetic. And that's all kind of complications from being a diabetic. And all diabetics, at the beginning, at the date of their diagnosis, should be seen by a podiatrist. And then we decide how often we see you back. Because most of my diabetics get seen about every 63 days, which is about little over every 2 months. And patients are like, why do you need to see me? I just need to keep you under surveillance. You know, and I mean, I'm trimming your nails, I'm trimming your calluses. But when you walk in that room and I look at your feet, I'm looking for changes in your skin color. I'm looking for, like, you know, bleeding into the skin. I'm looking at your calluses. I'm looking at your nails. I'm looking at everything. And I'm letting you know, okay, this callus that's dark, and that's not healthy. That's high risk for an ulcer. Or, you know, your cold feet, that's not good. That's vascular disease. We need to get you worked up for that. So, but unless they're under my surveillance and then under my education, because they're highly educated, they get a little mini degree in foot care and every foot problem that's relevant to their diagnosis and disease. So they understand and they know, okay, my feet burn. That's not normal, but I can get that treated, you know, or my feet are cold, or my feet sweat, or my feet stink. That's not normal. There's treatments for that. But if they never see me, they think, oh, you know, it's normal to have funky feet. No, it's not. That could be, you know, that could be athlete's foot. That could be an infection. You could have something called hyperhidrosis, where you excessively sweat. But there's treatments for all those different things. But if you've never seen a dietitian, you just think it's normal to have funky feet. And I had a boyfriend, an ex, before I went to podiatry school. And if I had known what I know now, he might still be with me. But I had to get rid of him because his feet smell so bad.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yes, but I have a lot of female patients. They're like, thank you, because my husband's feet smell so bad. And now they smell good, they're pretty, their skin's nice. Because, you know, I have a foot spa here. So then they go to the spa to get their feet scrubbed, get all that dead skin off their feet. And then men, you know, a lot of men, once they get it done and they see how their feet can look, then they get addicted. They come every month and then they enjoy it. They see, okay, it's okay to be pampered. It's okay to take care of myself. And, you know, so I try to be all inclusive.
No, I love it. And speaking as a man that was introduced to that a long time ago, I'm like, man, once I understood what that was, I'm like, yeah, I want to go. It's the best thing ever. It's so relaxing. Feels good. You're like sitting there. I'm all about that. So I person that showed me that years ago, and I'm like, man, it's one of my favorite things to do. So if you're a guy out there listening and you never been to a foot spa or anything like that, yeah, you want to go check that out because you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, you really don't. And the lives that we lead now, especially I'm in Ohio, where I'd probably say half my patient population work in factories. So they're spending 12 hours a day. We got one factory here, it runs 7 days a week. I swear they're trying to kill their people. But, you know, they come in with such chronic pain and chronic this and chronic that. I have to just take them off work. I'm like, I can't help you until you take off. Because I tell them, on the seventh day, the Lord rested. You got to rest. He took a break. You need to take a break. So, but, you know, yeah, but I have to have honest discussions with them. Like, there's no amount of drugs you could take. It's called rest. Your body has to rest. You have to get off those feet and let them rest and try and regroup.
Man, you just took me back to the Midwest. That was me years ago. I've been in LA probably too long, Dr. Richmond, and we don't work like that out here. but just being honest, sorry, but hey, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Michigan, and I've worked in some jobs like that you're describing. Even as a young man, I remember feeling like that pain, and it's like, yeah, you had to get off your feet every now and then. Like you just have to. You have to give them a rest, and you have to do those things. But if I would have known when I was in the Midwest, I didn't know about that foot spa though. I wish I would have known, because that would have made my life a lot easier then when I was working construction and just other things when I was growing up. I'd be like, oh, I would have been all over that. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Richmond, we can chat all day long, but I think we're about out of time on this episode. So I do want to do a quick recap though, to make sure that everybody got the information that we went over, because there's some really important things you went over today. First off, richfeetboutique.com. We're going to put that link in the show notes, so you'll definitely have that. Check that out so you can check out all the masks and everything else all that Dr. Richmond is creating, and the new nerve pain treatment. So ARP Neurotherapy, definitely on the website's really easy to get to. So this is also will be in the show notes, but it's just richfeet.org, and you can book an appointment right there. There's a big button you can't miss. It says request an appointment, or obviously the phone number's there, all that good stuff. And you're going to be seeing Dr. Richmond on TV, which she don't think is a big deal because he's always on TV. I still think it's a big deal, and it's cool. I tell my doctor out here in LA, I haven't seen him on TV lately. What's going on, man? Step up your game. You're not everywhere. So always great catching up with you, Dr. Richmond. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next time we do this again, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for having me.